A ver. Ahora sí podemos. My God. Tengo la solución, si no, Tengo la solución. La solución podría ser alguna otra. Díganme si se escucha, se escucha. Vamos a ver. Hello. Vamos a intentarlo. Si no, vamos a ver alguna otra opción. Hello. O sea, puedo invitar a cualquiera de ustedes que están mirando, pero a Christopher no lo puedo invitar. No sé por qué. Vamos a intentar de nuevo. Yo lo estoy escribiendo mientras. A ver. Si lo puedo invitar. I can't. Oh, this is so unfair. I have owed you again. Okay, great. No, pero you couldn't hear me at all. A ver. Oh my. Why is life so unfair sometimes? Bueno, no hay problema. Yo tengo una idea. I have an idea. Maybe we can do this. I can use my Facebook Messenger and we can try there. So I don't want to miss the chance to talk to you, Christopher. Estamos con problemas técnicos, gente. Vamos a tener que ponerle mucha onda para que salga. Por algún motivo, Christopher está en Arizona y por algún motivo no lo puedo invitar. I can't add you here. Okay, let's see. No. All right. Let's see if I call you there. Can we do that? The 3 dots don't give me request to join as an option. Okay, and what about, no, not the 3 dots. The, like, there are 2 little guys on the right of those 3 dots. No, please don't cry because then you're going to make me cry and we'll all end up crying. I'm trying to, okay. There should be a little sign in the comments that says request, says Pauli, with 2 red faces. Let's see. We're trying. He doesn't have that. Maybe it's okay. Let's go to Facebook Messenger. I'll try to show, we've done things like this, so don't worry, we don't have to, don't worry, be happy. Remember that song? Veamos. Si lo puedo, if I can reach you there. A ver, me están pasando. Scroll up, Christopher, he says. Okay, here you are. Yes. Wait. Fingers crossed, people. Reach you there.
Hold on. I gotta shut you off on the computer. All right, so it wasn't working. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hey. All right. I don't know. It wasn't giving me the option on the computer, so I tried it on my phone, and then it popped up. It was right there. I hope you can hear me all right.
Yes, I can. And everybody's kind of cheering. Yes.
All right. Good. Sorry.
We're all really happy to have you.
Thank you. Let me put. I'm having trouble hearing, so I'm gonna put on my my old man earbud here, just because the audio.
I tried with mine, but they didn't seem to work. So okay. Nobody could hear me the other time I tried. So we'll do it this way.
Can you hear me?
Hear me all right?
Yes, I can. What about you guys?
I'm good.
We're okay. Yes, okay. They are saying hi. There's my mom. All right, Christopher, I know we have little time together, so I want to try to squeeze it so as to ask you everything.
Okay. We started late, so I can stretch it out a little bit here. I'll do what I can. So sorry, I don't know what was going on my end, but I'm gonna. I'll blame it on technology. Blame everything on technology at this point.
Oh, of course. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Totally. Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for being here, talking to a complete stranger. You had no idea who I am, and still you said, yes, of course, I'll do it. Like, hey, I want to interview you. I'm a fan of yours. Yes, I'll do it. So thank you so much.
You look trustworthy. What can I say?
Oh,
the pink glasses. I love them.
It must be this. Okay, so I have a number of questions to ask you. First of all, can you do your introduction, what you do on your videos? Hi, I'm Christopher.
Oh gosh, you're putting me on the spot. It's like, hey, dance, monkey, dance, perform. Well, I don't. What do I say? You tell me what I say. I don't even know what I say.
Introduce yourself. Who are you?
Oh, yeah. Hi. My name is Christopher Younggren. I'm a middle school ELA teacher in Tucson, Arizona. How's that?
Beautiful. Lovely. Thank you. What's an ELA teacher?
English language arts. So it's basically a fancy way of saying English teacher.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. So why did you decide to become an English teacher?
Oh, gosh. Well, I was raised by an English teacher, and she's been correcting my grammar all my life. And so I think it was only a matter of time. It was kind of a twisty, turny path that I took to get here. I've been an actor, a stage actor, the majority of my adult life, from Los Angeles to New York City and parts between. And I taught college for several years. I taught theater history and acting, and I've taught magic and all sorts of stuff. And then finally, after 3 years of being a substitute teacher, after moving back to Arizona, I finally said, I'm devoting all of my time to being a substitute. I might as well get certified and do it for real. And I picked a heck of a year to start as a full-time middle school teacher. I tell you, this is, but what I truly believe is that if we can teach through these times, I really believe that we can teach anybody, anywhere, anything, because student engagement alone, I don't know how things are in Buenos Aires, but student engagement here, especially in middle school, where you have, all of a sudden the kids have more freedom and they're going through all these hormonal changes and they're starting to get attitudes and everything. It's hard enough to keep them engaged in person, but trying to constantly keep them paying attention and engaged online, I mean, the struggle is real and it is ongoing and it is getting more and more difficult every day. But I for one am learning a heck of a lot from the experience, and I'm doing everything I can to bring the passion I have for English to them. And some days are harder than others. Today I was definitely feeling Friday because they just were not paying attention. They're on their phones.
Okay,
or they're on
that's great, because we have the same problem. I mean, imagine that in this case they are learning a foreign language and they don't like it that much.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are kind of nerdy like me. I was like, yay, the English class, woo! But not everybody else in my classroom. So the question is, first of all, when you say middle school, how old are your students?
So my students are, and I don't know if you have the same kind of structure there, but I mean, right now I'm teaching 6th and 7th grade. So basically like 11 to 13-year-olds. And I got mostly really good kids. As a substitute teacher, which I really strongly suggest anybody do, especially if they're interested in getting into teaching, because you learn so much so fast about classroom management as a substitute, because you're starting literally every single day on day one with a brand new group of students, and you have to learn what makes that group tick. And this is why I bring magic tricks with me. I bribe them with magic tricks, and I show them a trick, and I say, if you do your work, I'll show you another. But the long and the short of it is, being a sub, you know, I've encountered rougher schools, and I've encountered students that are a little, shall we say, rougher around the edges. And so I'm really truly blessed to have students that are, for the most part, pretty good. They're just struggling, you know, and I mean, I think everybody's struggling this past year, and you know, they're not engaged, or they're not getting their work done, and it's a really delicate balance. You know, you have to find the discipline, but in a gentle way, because it's not just distance learning. It's distance learning in the midst of a worldwide pandemic that's killing 3,000 people a day. So at the heart of it, you know, we got to remember, and I got to constantly remind myself that, yeah, the middle school age, the 11 to 13-year-olds, they may be at a difficult age, but man, they're going through a lot, and they have a lot of expectations that have been thrust upon them. And in the end of the day, they're still just kids, you know, and, you know, a lot of them, you know, might be scared. They're definitely confused. They're definitely isolated after a year in quarantine. And a lot of them may be reacting to this online school from a place of fear. And so, I mean, these are things that I try to keep in mind when they're driving me nuts and making me lose my hair, you know. I had a full head of hair at the beginning of the year, believe it or not. I don't believe that. That's not true. Hey, all the tough guys in Hollywood have shaved heads these days, so it's good enough for them. It's good enough for me. What can I say? So I don't know. Yes, to answer your question, 11 to 13 years old. It took about 5 minutes to answer that question.
Listen, so you come to the class with a magic trick. And the question is, do kids still respect you when you're that kind of teacher? I know they do, because I am that kind of teacher, but to spread the word, because other teachers might say, oh, I don't want to be a clown. I mean, they should respect me the way I am, and this is my class, and this is my plan, so sorry, but I'm not going to play games with them. I'm not going to put a red nose, you know, and start, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm not that kind of magician. I'm actually good, and I don't dance around with a clown nose on. I'm probably more in the league with Penn and Teller, if you know who they are, than I am with Bongo the dancing clown. And I mean, I don't know. I think that men have an easier time of it getting respect, I think, from most kids, because I think especially in the lower grades were more of a scarcity. And so when I know that when I think back to my time subbing, I definitely had an easier time taking control because I was kind of a novelty to begin with, but also especially I would say, you know, there's a large Latino culture in Tucson, because we're about an hour away from the Mexican border. And I found especially with the Hispanic boys, it was pretty easy to get them on my side. Like, I don't know if there's an inherent respect or something there, but so I could show them the magic and then say, understand that I'm doing this, but also understand I don't have to do any more, all right? And that's your choice. You know, it's your choice whether or not I show you something else that's cool. You wanna screw around and start throwing chairs, that's fine. That's your choice, but understand the repercussions are, I'm not gonna be, I mean, I always told them, I said, my opening line when I was subbing is I said, I will be the best or the worst substitute you've ever had based upon one thing, your behavior. And your behavior is going to dictate whether or not I'm the sub that you will come to call Mr. Awesome, because I'll tell you about that in a second. Or you know, Mr. Grinch. You know, what you do is going to dictate who I am. And so,
wow.
You know, there's this philosophy, and I don't know if you've ever heard it. I think it's a bunch of poppycock, honestly, but I think it's nonsense. You don't let them see it. Don't let them see a smile until Christmas. You know, it's much easier to come on strong and then lighten up as the year goes on. I mean, you've seen some of my videos, and you see that the way I am on the videos is generally the way I am with the kids. And I believe that the reverse, the converse, is also true. I mean, if you start off by being communicative, and if you start off being gentler and sillier and maybe bigger than life, then when you do tighten up the reins and say, look, it's time to pay attention, I found that more often, and look, this year all bets are off. Who knows how they're going to behave one day to the next. But for the most part, even if you start off silly, when you tighten up the reins and say, look, it's time to get serious now, they go, oh gosh, okay, now he's being serious. We better pay attention. But I think it's so important to, you don't have to be bigger than life, and you don't have to be a magician, and you don't have to be a clown, but you do have to bring the passion. You do have to care about what you're talking about, rather than coming off like the teacher who simply goes, Bueller, Bueller, Bueller. That's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I don't know if you have it over there, but I mean, you want to express to them that it's not you against them and it's not them against you, but that you're all on the same side. And so however that manifests itself, if you bring, I believe, the best of yourself to the table every single day, your students are going to ultimately be much more engaged than they will be if you're ruling with an iron fist saying, you must learn this because if you don't, you're going to fail. You must learn this because if you don't, you're going to be held back and you're going to have to do sixth grade all over again. Yes, we've had to have those conversations with kids who are doing, I don't know what's like there, but I know that the students that I have failing right now are failing simply because they are not doing the work. They're just not doing it. And
same story.
I understand that they're probably a little pressed for time because they're only going to school for a half a day, which only leaves them 21 hours a day or 20 hours a day to sleep and play video games and watch YouTube. So I understand that they don't have nearly enough time to, I'm winking right now, but I think that trying to motivate them with fear tactics is only going to make them even more stubborn. And look, I have a lot of kids that are doing great. And I try to flip the script on them, and I try and point out that they're not doing this for me, and they're not doing this for the principal, and they're not doing this for their parents. They're doing this for themselves. And that may be kind of a abstract concept for them to wrap their head around. But if you ask them, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, you want to be on Wall Street. Oh, you want to be a recording artist. You want to be an actor. Guess what? All of these things start with the ways that you develop your own discipline right here, right now. The choices you make right now. It may seem stupid. ELA may seem stupid. Science class, math, whatever. You may think that you're never going to use this again. But the habits that you're developing right now are going to benefit you as you move forward. You're not going to be on Wall Street if you can't add numbers. You're not going to be an actor if you can't memorize lines. And you're not going to be a musician if you don't have the discipline to learn music, and trying to get them to wrap their head around that and put the onus back on them so they realize, oh, I'm doing this for me. It falls on a lot of deaf ears, but those who get it, and those who are showing up every single day and bringing their best through this distance learning, through this quarantine, I promise you, when they get back in person, they're going to be much better students than the ones who have just been sitting around staring at the screens all year doing nothing. Because if they can be good students through this, and I believe the same is true of teachers, if you can be a good student through this, you're going to be an amazing student back in person. And if you can teach through this, and if you can reach even 50% of them, you're going to be able to teach anyone, anywhere, anything. And I truly believe that, because these are trying times, and only the strong will survive.
Okay, nice. Well, I hope that you're so
I tend to ramble on. What's that?
I love it that you're so talkative. Listen, we have a question here. Do parents intervene on this behavior at this age?
Yeah, and that's a real struggle as well, a real challenge that we're experiencing. I don't know when did you guys start? Are you all virtual where you are, or are you doing any in person?
Well, that's a very good question. Actually, you know, we have a problem here. Classes start next. Actually, we have to go back to school next week.
Oh, wow.
Meaning being present, being available, as you know, teachers being available, not students. Students come back on the 17th, and we still don't know whether we're going to do it at schools or not. You know, there's a political thing going on, but the thing is, we still don't know what is going to happen. So, teachers are trying to pluck up courage and get all the resources as possible, so as to know how to teach. People don't know what is going to happen. We are living in times of uncertainty here. So, yeah, we really don't know.
Yeah, it's all about adaptation. And if you can adapt and if you can roll with it, like I say, you know, I mean, everybody's talking about what a horrible year it's been. And yeah, it's been rough. It's been challenging. And yet I really think that when we look back on it, a decade out, and we realize what we went through, and we realize what we learned and how we grew and how much stronger we are as a result because we've been able to adapt, I think we're going to, I'm not going to say we're going to be thankful for 2020, but I think we're definitely going to improve as educators as a result of it. But back to the question, as far as parents, it's a real challenge because, you know, one of the most frustrating things is there are many parents who, for lack of a better term, are enabling the lack of engagement of their children, you know, and making excuses for their children. Oh, well, my child just doesn't like online learning. My child just doesn't like doing homework. My child has anxiety. Well, you know, all of these things. And I'm sorry that your child doesn't like online learning, but it might help if your child even showed up to class, because these are the children that aren't even coming to class. And then, you know, I have a policy of no late work. I mean, I give them a week past the due date. And then after that week, I'm accepting any more work because I don't think it's fair to them to try and cram at the end. What are they learning by doing a bunch of work at the end just to do it? And then your teachers are dealing with, you know, a mountain of paperwork at the end of the quarter. It's not fair for anybody. And so I you know, we're going over a lot of the work synchronously in class. And I say, look, if you just did it along with the class every day, because I use primarily like Google Forms and Google Slides and stuff, so they're able to do it on their end and they're able to see it on their end as I'm going over it on their end. And instead, who knows? You can't tell whether or not they have another tab open and, oh, I'm looking at Minecraft videos or Roblox videos or YouTube, whatever. And so instead of actually being in class, they're watching videos. And it's like half of their parents don't really believe, and I don't even know, and none of us know, because we may find out at the end of the year, as much as we say, your grade is going to be what you get, and if you fail, you're held back at the end of the year. That might not be the way it is, and everybody might just be passed on anyway. So I believe that a lot of parents don't believe it's legit and don't believe that their kids are going to be held back. And honestly, I don't know what favors we're doing them by passing them on when they've spent an entire year doing nothing. I mean, we have something, maybe you've heard of the term summer slide. You know, and at the end of the summer every year, there's a certain amount of catching up to do because there's some retention that's lost from the year before. Well, imagine the slide that we're looking at if we're talking about an entire year. So the real problem is not right now. The real problem is what's going to happen to these students if they are just passed on after earning literally like a 4% or whatever in class, and now they're in the next grade. Are they going to be prepared? Absolutely not. And that's going to probably manifest in behavioral issues, and that, you know, it's just going to snowball. And so I don't know, you know, if these parents believe that because again, it's this balance, you know, and we have to be gentle, and we can't just crack the whip and say, you must get this work done. But I don't think we're doing them any favors by saying, go ahead, you just pass on to the next grade anyway, because they're not going to be ready. So there's definitely, you know, there's a lack of parent involvement, there's a lack of parental support, and there's a lot of enabling of students who are just skating by, and I just don't think it's fair to the students, honestly. So I don't know if
I think it's terrible because the making up excuses for their children happens there in the States and here in Argentina. So it happens really everywhere. It's incredible. So the question that I want to go to your YouTube channel. It is great. My question is, in a world where ideas are constantly monetized and people sell their ideas, how come you're giving up all this food for thought for free?
Because it keeps me sane. I don't know. I have to constantly be creating. You know, like I said, I've been an actor the majority of my adult life, and then you know, this pandemic hit, and I'm actually in a play right now. We went back into rehearsals 2 weeks ago, so that's
great.
Weird.
I'm a dancer.
I
am a dancer.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I actually looked you up on Facebook and I saw some of your dance pictures. But so Broadway can't do it, but apparently theater in Tucson, Arizona. I mean, we're being very safe and we're social distancing and we're wearing masks for rehearsals, and we're actually pre-recording all of the dialogue so that when we go on, we're going to be basically doing the blocking to pre-record dialogue of ourselves. It's very weird, but it's cool, and I'm glad to have the opportunity. But the point is, I've had a year with no real creative outlet, and the YouTube channel started as a fluke. And I don't know if you've gone back far enough to see the Professor 𝘠𝘭𝘠𝘠 videos. I developed about a week before class began. I wanted to, because I knew we were going to be virtual, and I wanted to find a way to express to the students that even though we're separate, we're still together. And so I created this sort of crazy Harry Potter type professor, and his name is Professor 𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠, and he demonstrated some magic that happened right through the computer screen. Oh, can you believe it? It's so exciting. You know, and so they knew coming into my class that it was going to be, that they were going to be expected to engage, and that I was going to, at least coming from a place of engagement and coming from a place of trying to really make it as interactive as I possibly could. And then, I don't know, I just started putting some other thoughts down on video, and people started responding to them, and it's helping, it's helping me learn too, because, I come from a long career in education. This is my first year as a full-time middle school teacher, but, I taught college for almost a decade, and I've been teaching here and there and directing and whatnot on and off throughout my life. But it's really helped me narrow my focus and sort of distill what's most important in any given topic. And it helps for me to put my thoughts down. And it's funny that you bring up the monetization, because a lot of people still accuse me. I posted to some Facebook groups and whatnot, and some of the people still say it's spam. And I'm like, I'm not asking for anything, I'm just sharing either Zoom tips or improv ideas. I got a lot of the improv games. I call it Zoomprov because we're doing improv games via Zoom, or Fun Friday games, because I really truly believe that the best way to ensure that a kid is excited about coming back on Monday is to leave them flying high on Friday. And so, a lot of people could sit back and say, well, it just seems like a lot of silliness, and it just seems like a lot of frivolous fun. And yet, honestly, if you don't find ways, whatever your style is and however they manifest for yourself, if you don't find ways of engaging your students, they're not going to be paying attention. If they're not paying attention, they're not going to be learning. And I'm not, again, saying be Bongo the dancing clown or anything, but make it fun. Yes, it can be serious. I think what people tend to forget is it can be both serious and fun. And I know a lot of teachers are really frustrated with virtual teaching because maybe they have a decade or 2 decades, 3 decades in the classroom and everything is different. Well, yeah, everything's different. But Stanislavski, the great Russian acting teacher, talked about something called the magic if. And the magic if is, how would I behave if I were in this scenario? What would I do if I were this type of person? And so it's easy for me because so many teachers have talked this year about feeling like a first-year teacher. And well, I am a first-year teacher at this level. And so I don't have to imagine it because I'm right there. And so kind of adapting to this online model hasn't been all that difficult for me, because while I do have other classroom experience, my full-time job started off online. So it's really all I've known. And so it hasn't been that difficult to kind of just roll with it. But I think a lot of teachers freeze up when met with this kind of technology. And as a result, they just focus on the lessons and focus on drilling this information into their students without bringing the fun, without bringing the passion. And I promise you, any teacher worth their salt, there's a reason they became a teacher. I would hope just more than having summers and weekends off. And whatever that reason is, to just remember that reason and kind of bring that passion and bring that love and share that love to keep you going through these times. And I mean, in a nutshell, that's what I'm trying to do with these videos on YouTube, is just discuss all of the different techniques I'm using and the things I'm trying to keep in mind. And I'm also trying to make videos that are equally applicable to when we go back in person as well. So they're not just going to be specific to distance learning, but things that you can even implement once the quarantine is over, which will hopefully come soon.
Whenever that happens. What's your favorite game?
My favorite what?
What's your favorite game?
Oh gosh, that's too hard. We've been doing one lately called the game of categories, which is great for effective listening and focus and memorization, and it works really well both in person and online. And what you do is somebody just throws out a category like zucchini, and then they say somebody's name. Now, so if you're doing this on Zoom, you would say Bobby, zucchini, and then Bobby would say Mary, radish, and then Mary would say Cindy, carrot, right? And you go through the entire class like that until everybody is gone, and then you send it back to the first person. And you have to have been listening, because you have to remember which person you come after. Now, if you go through a couple of times using the name, hopefully remembering the name of the person you sent it to the first time, and this is where the focus comes into it. After a few cycles of that, then you take the name away and you just say zucchini. And then Bobby would have to remember, oh gosh, zucchini was my cue word, and he would say radish. And then Mary would have to remember that radish was her cue word, and she says carrot. And then you can introduce a second category. So I say Luke Skywalker, right? And you go around, now you do Star Wars characters, whatever, and then you jump back and you do vegetables again. Well, then you can start both of them going at the same time. So you start with zucchini, and then after a couple of people go, you say Luke Skywalker. So now you have two categories going at the same time, and everybody has to be listening very, very closely, especially once you remove those names for their cue word, so they know what's coming next. If this seems way too complicated, then you can just watch the video on YouTube. But it works really, really super well in person too. Just getting people, and in fact, probably better in person, but I have had success with it on Zoom. That just having people working together and listening to each other and remembering what's coming, and really just engaging with each other. And that's something I think that's so important, is everybody is feeling so distant. Everyone is feeling so separated, that if we can do, and a lot of my games involve the entire class. And so if we can get everybody working together at the same time, so nobody feels left out and not invited to the party, I think then all of a sudden we're going to be on our way to building classroom culture and having a strong community, which I think is absolutely essential to any classroom, but especially the virtual classroom. So I got a lot of games like that, where everyone is super involved, like right from the start.
And one more thing, when do you play them? When is it okay to play a game to break the ice, to like in the middle when they are all like, ooh, like zombies? You say, hey, why don't we play a game? And they already know that we play a game. Or is it when
they're behaving? When they're well, I'm not going to reward them with a game if they're all checked out and they're not listening and they're throwing attitude and shade. So I do typically every day start off with some community building with a question of the day. It usually manifests as a would you rather question, maybe. Do you know would you rather? Have you ever played would you rather?
Yes. Like, you know what I like? You taught us fist to five.
Fist to five. Yes, so fist to five is a great way of saying how you doing today, and you have an immediate And so if somebody's like a 3 or lower, I usually stop and check in with them and say, what's going on? How you doing? But taking and honestly, I spend 10 to 12 minutes maybe every day just asking a silly question like cheeseburgers or pizza, you know, and it's just something silly, or checking in with what are you doing this weekend? And, you know, a lot of people, again, may sit back and say, oh, that's a giant waste of time. And what does it have to do with curriculum? Well, again, until you can establish this culture of mutual respect and leading them to understand and believe that you're on their side and that you're all in this together, to coin a phrase, you're not going to be able to work on the curriculum. It's not going to matter because they're not going to be listening. But once they're invested in the group, once they're feeling like part of the group, part of the community, it's going to be a lot easier to engage with them when it comes to the actual academia, when it comes to the curriculum, you know.
How many games should we play in the same class? What would you say?
I would just do one. Yeah, I mean, unless you wanna use it as some sort of motivating factor, where, you know, if you guys are super good this week, then we're going to devote all of Friday to being Fun Time Friday, and we're gonna play games or sing songs or just share about whatever we want or just have a chat. I mean, it's up to you, but I mean, I maybe do. I make more videos than I actually play games because I got to actually teach lessons too, but I would say one a week, you know, reward them with it. Don't let it become commonplace, because then it's not a reward. Then it's not, and it's no different than, you know, some teachers have like a treasure box in their classroom, and you get a sticker or a smelly eraser or something, or a pencil. It's no different, and it's no different from the magic trick either. If you guys are super good, then I'll show you a magic trick, whatever. So as a reward, not something. I mean, it's part of the fabric of the community, but it's still a special occasion, you know, because it's like having Christmas every day. If you have Christmas every day, who cares? If you go to Disneyland every day, who cares? It's not special. And so really, you know, making it a time of showing your appreciation for the hard work that they've done, and just kind of a little celebration time. And I wouldn't necessarily devote an entire period to it even, you know, maybe 10, 15 minutes. You'll get a sense for when it's running out of steam and you need to move on, but it definitely, here's the thing, you want to keep them on their toes. You want to keep them guessing. And for me, that manifests as this sort of a bigger than life, dial it up to 11 wild and crazy guy. That doesn't necessarily have to be your deal, but you know, break through the comfort zones. You know, if you feel like you're afraid to do something, what better reason is there to do it, you know? And you may be surprised at what you discover when you do try something you haven't before. And even if they think you're weird, who cares? They're going to remember you. They're going to pay attention. They're going to pay attention to you more than if you're just, because I know teachers who started off day one, all right, we're working on compound sentences day one. And I'm like, what? What quicker way is there to lose everybody right away? You know, and so I truly believe, you know, bring the passion, break through those comfort zones, and community over culture every single time, I think is going to ultimately be a lot more beneficial both to you and the students in the end.
Nice, very nice message. Well, I know we're running out of time, but I wanted to ask you two more things.
5 minutes. I got about
5 minutes. Okay, quickly. When are you coming to visit us?
Well, whenever you get me a plane ticket, you know.
Because have you ever been here?
Oh gosh, no, no. I told you before, and I'm ashamed to admit it, and I'm gonna say it again because I'm not afraid. Yeah, all I know about Argentina, I learned from ʻEvita. I'm sorry, but you know.
We have to teach you something about ourselves. We are amazing people, nice, very nice, warm-hearted, and amusing people. So we would definitely
know that just interacting with you.
Okay, and the last is, what can you say to teachers out there who are desperate about this new and uncertain year? Because as we said before, we are starting in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah. So are you? How does your school year work? Is this like Christmas break for you, or is this the beginning of the school
No,
year?
because we're in summer, so we are
Okay.
Actually, classes should start like in a month, but because of the pandemic, well, long story short, we have to start 2 weeks early. 2 weeks early. We typically start a bit later, but anyway, so it goes from now February till December.
Yeah.
Then we our summer break.
So you do like a calendar year, which makes actually
right.
more sense. Because we start in August and then we go to like June or something weird. I don't know.
We do have a winter break. It's 2 weeks in July.
Right.
It's in the middle of your summer. So it's crazy, right?
Well, hey, man, whatever works. But what I would say, I think it's a couple of things, and they're sort of related, but I think I can sum it all up in be gentle. Be gentle with your students and be gentle with yourself. I'm releasing a video, I think tomorrow, about 5 self-care tips for teachers during the quarantine. But again, like I said before, we have to remember that you're going to get frustrated. Believe me, you're going to get frustrated because you're going to get a sense for it. Very quickly, the kids that are not listening, probably watching a different tab on their computer, probably not paying attention. You're gonna get Minecraft radar very quickly, or YouTube radar very quickly, and you're gonna know when they're not dialed in. And I would just remind you to remember that they are dealing with a lot. They are dealing with more than just not engaging. I know a lot of my students have households where there are 2 or 3 other siblings running around being crazy. There are parents working from home. There are dogs. There is all sorts of conflict and distractions that they're dealing with, and it's not easy. And they're not going to be as engaged as they are in class. In class, they have a limited number of things they can focus on, and the primary thing they're focusing on is you. And when they're in class, you can say, "Hey, stop monkeying around," or whatever, right? But at home, there's so many variables you can't control. And just remember, this is all happening in the midst of worldwide chaos. And I don't know what you know about this country right now, but we're going through some pretty unbelievable times politically and, with the pandemic and everything. I mean, it's nuts. It's chaos. And they want to tell me they can't think of anything to write about? I mean, open your door. Take a look at the world right now. But so they're dealing with a lot, and we're asking a lot of them, and we're asking them to conduct themselves with more responsibility than many of them ever have. So just take it easy on them. And what goes hand in hand with that is take it easy on yourself. Make sure that you have very, very clearly delineated boundaries that you set. Don't be answering student emails at 9 o'clock at night, because it's going to set a precedent that that you're not going to be able to escape from. Make sure that you leave time for yourself, right? Make yourself available to your students by whatever means necessary. But again, at the end of the day, make sure that you have time for yourself that is sacred for your family, for your spouse, for your children, for whatever. And I mean, there are plenty of other things that you can do, like exercise and meditation and eating healthy and whatnot, and drinking plenty of water and plenty of sleep. But take care of yourself. There are a lot of people who are struggling, both children and adults this year, and it's manifesting in some pretty unhealthy ways in a lot of people. So just make sure, because it's like that old thing from the airplane, where you put your mask on before you put your child's mask on, and different mask, not the mask we're talking about, but the oxygen mask. Because until you're taking care of yourself, and it may seem like a no-brainer and it may seem obvious, but we lose sight of it. Tear yourself away from the computer. You lose track of time, and then you're sitting there for 4 hours. You go, oh gosh, I've been hungry for 2 hours, and I've been sitting here with a sore back for 2 hours. Check in with yourself constantly and give yourself the respect of taking care of yourself, because if you can't do that, you're going to be completely ineffective as a teacher, and I absolutely 100% believe that.
Okay, here they are saying wise words. They're clapping. Okay, everybody's happy. Thank you so much for your time, for this interview, for your generosity. I don't know how to thank you enough. So thank you.
It's all good. I'm happy to come back anytime and talk about anything else you want. It's just my but
yes,
just let me know.
yes.
I hope it was helpful. I hope that some of what I talked about made sense. If not, then just ignore the last hour. You know.
Yes. Oh my. Okay. Yeah. I have the props here. The backstage is kind of falling apart. Okay. So listen. Thank you so much. I hope we can talk soon. And they say for your time. Greetings from Spain. So it's an international audience here. Okay. Thank you so much. Guys, go watch Christopher. He has a great YouTube channel with his awesome videos. He has lots of ideas to share. Classroom Confidential.
Confidential, that's right.
Thank you, Christopher, so much. Have a great weekend.
All right, take care and good luck with the school year.
Thank you. Same there.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. Wow. Lo logramos. I'm so happy. I'm so happy this was possible. No saben cómo estoy. Ahora tengo que dar una clase. Voy a estar así, con la sonrisa de oreja a oreja. todo el día y seguramente todo el fin de semana. Lo logramos. Muchas gracias por bancarnos ahí. Vamos a dejar, por supuesto, esta entrevista súper rica, llena de ideas y de inspiración. La vamos a dejar en el feed. Espero que les haya gustado, espero que les haya encantado tanto como a mí, y la verdad que cuando es muy loco, ¿no? Todo hasta que no pasa, uno como que no cae. Poder hablar con un real teacher of English estadounidense que trabaja en este caso nos contó, preteens, y que nos pudo dar tantas ideas y tanto como para seguir, sobre todo para las y los teachers este año, que arrancamos con todo si todo va bien, y esperamos que sea un buen año dentro de todo este contexto. Así que gracias por acompañarme en esta entrevista, y ojalá que salgan muchas más, porque la verdad que un placer poder encontrar a estos personajes, pero lo digo bien, ¿no? Personajes lindos, locos lindos por ahí, que tienen que son tan apasionados por la educación como yo en este caso, y como todas las teachers de Puzzle. Así que bueno, nada más por decir, súper feliz, espero que tengan un excelente fin de semana. Happy weekend, everybody. Thank you for being there. Lots of love. Bye bye.